Mr. Sanis, tell me why the White House counterintelligence agents of President Richard M. Nixon broke into the Watergate office of Larry O'Brien, the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, on June 16, 1972.
I should append to my discussion of the break-in of the Medea office of the FBI that no one was ever caught for that burglary, which I regard as an act of extraordinary patriotism and extraordinary courage. I will say no more about that because I don't know what the status is from a criminal law standpoint of that Medea, Pennsylvania break-in. But I am happy to tell you that I did personally and alone mastermind, if you will, a break-in of the FBI offices in Seattle, Washington. And at that time that I did that, it was a simple thing to do, but an extraordinary thing to know about for people today. When I did it, it was very simply done. The offices were in the federal building, downtown Seattle. I simply took two large shopping bags, one in each hand, into the federal building lobby in Seattle. I went to the elevator tower, got into the elevator tower, went up to the offices of the FBI office, and stayed inside the stairway. Stayed inside the stairway by the elevator towers and waited there until a little after noon. 3 FBI agents together came from the elevator over to the door, which had a plate glass viewing port by it, and they waved, and a woman inside the FBI offices hit a buzzer. The door was unlocked from the FBI office to the elevator lobby, and the 3 FBI agents walked in. Before the door closed behind them, I darted from the stairway where I was watching out of a small crack in the door, burst in behind them with my shopping bag in each hand, and screamed, "Freeze, motherfuckers," at the top of my voice. At that moment, these brave and courageous FBI agents who filled that office floor saw who I was. They knew who I was. They knew I was an explosives expert. They knew I was a man with long history of building and setting bombs for my government. They fled like little children, screaming, breaking furniture, pushing past secretaries, leaping over secretaries, and all of them turned to screaming people, fleeing their own offices to get out as I just stood there, quietly. They totally emptied the office of the FBI on that floor within a matter of less than 30, 40 seconds. Now that's a federal crime. It's a lot of federal crimes to plan and execute a break-in of the FBI office in Seattle. But they fled. They didn't turn around to put me at gunpoint arrest. They're afraid I had bombs in those 2 shopping bags. All I had was 2 shopping bags full of sworn affidavits of FBI involvement in criminal activities in pursuit of people of color and in pursuit of people who protested the war in Vietnam. They fled. I knew that wouldn't be the end of it. And so I sat on a nearby desk by the front door, crossed my legs, held out my hands, put them to the side of me on each side of the desk, palms down, and waited. It was many, many, many minutes after that when the first of two Seattle policemen low-crawled their way into that office and at gunpoint arrested me without resistance. But it was intriguing to me when I got down to the lobby that their Seattle police car was parked on the sidewalk directly in front of the doors of the federal building that they had entered and gone up the elevator from. The FBI agents, those brave, sworn agents of our federal government, of all of us, had in their courage called the Seattle office of the Seattle Police Department to come collect me or deal with me, whatever it took, in the federal building in the United States in downtown Seattle. I was cuffed, taken into the back seat by one of the officers who sat next to me, billy club at port arms, and I was very quiet, very demure, very meek, except as we neared Seattle's headquarters of the police department, I did observe to both of them very calmly that they should be thinking about why it was that they were called, the Seattle Police Department, for a break-in of the offices of the FBI in the federal building. Why federal agents had not responded to gun me down or take me into custody, whatever. Didn't they think that was unusual? And then I asked them, because they said nothing, either one of them. And I said, I have to tell you something. You really haven't arrested me. And you will be told when we get to the jail that I am not under arrest. I have not been under arrest, and I simply came voluntarily with you to talk to you about an incident at the federal building. You will be told to take my cuffs off and release me. I will never make it to jail. At that point, they became agitated, understandably, and we had a tense ride the rest of the way and a tense entry into the jail section of downtown Seattle Police Department office. They were met by a senior Seattle police officer who told them to release me and let me go, that I was not under arrest and had not been under arrest. And my last words to the policeman were, "Did I not tell you? Don't you find this a little unusual?" Now that burglary I can tell you all about, and I'm happy to.